Page 80, Toccata in D minor. Very famous piece, an organ piece, I believe. Sounds really neat on an organ, but this is an interesting arrangement. Don't know that it really belongs in this book. This is a rather challenging piece, but let's just take it slow and careful and see if we can't understand what's going on here. Now, it's in sections. There's different sections, different melodies, different speeds, different things going on. So when I approach a piece of music, a longer piece of music that's got all kinds of stuff going on, I break it down into pieces, into sections or something. Because if it's a piano sonata, I mean, a single movement could be 30 pages long on some of those. They get long. And so rather than tackling the whole thing, I take it in pieces. And I just learn it in pieces, and then I put the pieces together. And it makes it a little easier for me to learn the thing. Otherwise, it's just huge. You think, how do I learn something like this? Well, one step at a time. So in this video, I'm going to discuss this and demonstrate it in pieces, not the whole thing in one thing. You can just put it all together. D minor, we already know that's in the title. One flat, all the B's are flat. Common time, C is common time, 4/4 time. Now let's figure out this rhythm on the first two lines. I'm just going to take the first two lines here. On the previous page, they talk about 30-second notes. Well, if you understand the notes are, you keep dividing them in two, it doesn't matter what they are. So quarter note is the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes is half a beat, 1 and 2, and 16th notes is half of that. 1 and a 2 and a 3. Well, 30-second notes is half of that, twice as fast. We don't really count them. They go too fast. You can't. There's no time to count them. You feel them. So let's figure out here on the first measure. We know it's 4 beats. Let's figure out what note is on or near a beat. Well, the first note, the A's, that's beat 1. The 16th rest, you see there, that's beat 2. That comes right on beat 2. The 8th note, the D's, that's beat 3. And the quarter rest is beat 4. So really we only got, if we can get the first 2 beats of this, we got it. The rest isn't so bad. This bit here, with the 16th notes, you don't count them, you play up rather quickly. See these two 30-second notes, that's the same as 1 16th notes. 1 E and a, 1 E, 1 E. 1 E, 1 E, 1 E, 1 E and a 2 here, and then the fermata, you hang on to that for a bit so you can recover, and you lift up and come down here, thumb and fourth, and we're just going to play these notes. They're saying 4. I prefer to just, if you don't mind doing that, you can just start on 5th finger and go down, or either way, you finger it however you want to finger it, but I'm gonna finger it with 5th. I want both hands. I just gotta come out for the C sharp, and those 30-second notes are on the 1 E and 2 E, 2 E and 2 E and is how that works, because I'm counting 16th notes. 2 E and 2 E and 2 E and then the 3. So it's 1, 2, hold, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, hold, 2, 3. And then a rest with a hold on it so you can recover from that. And then down here, same thing, an octave lower. Rest, 1. These are just 16th notes, they're not 30 seconds. So 1 and 2, rest. So the D's are on beat 3. The second line, same thing. Same thing as the first measure, but you hit down here. Then the last 2 measures of that, that is a D here, whole notes tied. You're going to hold it down for the rest of the line, but it has an 8/8 under it. So you go down an octave here. If you have a short keyboard and you don't have the notes, you just use as low as you got. And if this doesn't work for you, you can play just one note, just whatever your keyboard allows. Well, it's here, and then these are triplets. 1 and 2 and 3. Watch the fingering. 2, 3, 1. This is a diminished 7th chord. I have videos out on these. You can go work on those. In fact, you should be working on them. It'll help you on these kinds of things. But the fingering, just 2, 3, 1. Connect these. 1. And now their finger, you see they're tied? You're going to hold them down from the thumb all the way up. And I use 4th finger on this C sharp. Now, because that's fingering, actually the fingering is this. But if you want to use 3rd, it's up to you, but I'll use 4th. But you're holding all of those down with the hands. It doesn't matter that the pedal's down. We're doing this with the hands right now. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's tied to 1. So it's 1, 2 and after those 30-second notes, these aren't bad at all. Okay. And that's tied then, and then in the last measure, the second line, hold that G down, it's tied, and come down 3, 1, 3, 5. And now those are tied as you play here. Here. Like so. As far as the speed for this little bit is very, adagio molto means very slowly. Well, it has to be or you wouldn't get in all these 30-second notes. This sounds like an improvised thing. And people, when they play it, you can find recordings of it. Listen to multiple, not just one. Listen to different people. They'll interpret it differently. But it's very loud. Don't hang on to that C sharp. No, it's just a 16th note. So keep it more or less in time. Again. Then that rest, hang on. Then again. Then hold on for the rest. Those are fermata. And then here. 2, 2. There's a fermata there. Hang on to that for a bit. Then you're ready for the next section. As far as the pedal goes, it's the last 2 measures of the second line, the overlapping pedal. You can, because this whole note is accented and it's loud, you can push the pedal down right before it. So it's like push the pedal down right before you play the whole note here. What I want to do is release the dampers so that when I play the note, that sound explodes. So it's here. Hold it down and change it after I play each note. Here, and then lift them all up together because there's silence there in the 3rd line before you go on. It's cool. It's a nice effect. So that's the first section. Then, next section starts on the 3rd line down. Now this is allegro, so this is fast, and you have all these triplets all over everywhere. And we're going to take this all the way through to the 3rd line on page 81. We'll just do the first 3 lines on page 81. So this is like 5 lines along here. It's not really that long, but there's a transition there that starts at the end of the 2nd line. Similar to what you've already had, but different. We'll include that in this section. Now these triplets, take these slow and easy here, rhythmically. This first note, even though it doesn't look like it, it's the last note of a triplet. Treat it like the last note of a triplet, not as an 8th note. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's the same speed as the triplets. Now as far as the fingering, that's up to you. Fingering in the book, I don't know about that. And these at the end of each of these measures, there's 2 8th notes here. So you'd think, no. way back when this was written, and actually into the 1800s too. I mean, even today, maybe they still do it. It just simplifies the writing, the notation. When you have triplets like this going on, and you need 2 notes instead of 3, but they're still in a triplet rhythm, you would just write them like they do here as 2 notes, and it's understood you play it as a triplet. So that first note, look at 3rd line down, it's the second measure here. When you're coming in, you have 2. Treat that as a quarter note and an 1/8 note type triplet. Huh? So those are all, and that's standard. That's just the way you'll see that in other pieces of music. So if you're in a piece of music that's got a bunch of triplets like this, and then they stick 2 notes in there, treat them as a triplet. Just a long short, the first note and the last note of the triplet. Yeah. So that's what we do here. So take it slow, and I suggest at first you accent, make a deliberate effort to accent on the beat. Now look at the last measure there on the 3rd line in the left hand. They've got here. That's incorrect. That's just an error. Your thumb is there at 30. You could just stay here. Just play that. Here. So that one thing, that number 1 there, should not be there. Don't even think about it. Then there's a rest for the last line on page 80, and then we come up and do it again. See, I don't use the fingering in the book. I use these. They want this. But I like to use 1, 2, and 3. It's just easier for me. So again, here I got to do this because of the black key. But I am using the thumb there in the last note of these measures. Like that. And you gradually speed it up and take out the accents. You feel the beat, 1, 2, 3, but you don't force it, you just feel it. And they've got this in phrases. They're lifting up between the phrases. I don't know about that. Go listen to some recordings and see how the organ players do it. I don't know that I would lift up, but this arrangement says to. So, okay. Then the last line, then is the same thing. And then on top of 81, we got the triplets again. Now we're going to go down. So let's get the fingering very carefully here. They're starting here. So just using 2, 4, 1 each time. That's okay. You're going to end up with, but that's okay. If you can do that okay, that's all right. Go for it. Otherwise, you got to do that here, and then basically using the same fingering on the sequence going down. In the left hand, you're starting here, and they want this. They're going to use the same thing here. Here, 2 each one. That's okay. You can do that. So it's here. Each one starts index finger. And you again, when you first start it, real slow. Collapse the wrist and accent on the beat, and you gradually speed it up. They have to be even. They have to be controlled, so don't get too carried away here. And then the last measure, the second line, you're down here. Again, this is similar to what you had before, but now in the right hand, they're not triplets. They're just regular eighth notes. And you can follow their fingering, it's fine. But watch this in the right hand. You have a 2, 3, 1. This is the last measure of the second line. Page 81. 2, 3, 1. Now they want a 2, 3. And then when you play the 3, they immediately want you to substitute the thumb. The reason is because now we're going to finger pedal and we're going to hold them down. Here. I like that, but okay. And we need the thumb on that to do that, so we do a quick finger. Well, they're eighth notes, so they're a little slower. Here, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Because up here is 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here. Now, if that finger substitution is causing you problems, like me, then we'll find another fingering. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Because you can cross here. I mean, there are arpeggios that are all black keys, and you have to do that. So that's doable. So just go 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And you're in position to do that. It's what I recommend. So then it's here. And then in the second line, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 E and 4 E and So 1, 2, 3. And that needs to sound like one hand played it all together. Then triplets. And this little trill here, well, if we can figure out where the beats are, that'll help us. So the first beat, this is the third line down, second measure. Here, the first beat's a triplet. Second beat, eighth notes. 1 and 2 and then this mess on beat 3. All these little 16th notes come on beat 3, and the eighth note at the end of it is beat 4. So we're starting it on beat 3, and the eighth note is on beat 4. So it's 3. As far as triplet and 2/16 notes, I suggest you just play them evenly. Try and make them last one beat. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. There. I mean, not that fast. Well, it's a fast. This is allegro. 1 and you lift up, come down. You can pedal. The pedaling here is similar to what we did before. You're pedaling here. This is the last measure, the second line here. Push it down with it. 2, 3. Again, push it down, the pedal on that. But the idea on this one is you play it really, really slowly and you gradually speed it up. It starts out moderately soft. This is both hands, moderately loud, whatever you think moderately loud is. This is back on page 80, third line down. 2, 3, 4. Two, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to crescendo up to loud for the last measure there, so you almost forget the crescendo. Just play it on down and know you're going to end up loud. That's loud here. You got to go from here. Good luck with that. So you have to practice that. So we're here, pedal. beat 3. And push it down with the notes there at the end of the third line there. Push it down with a half note. Lift it up together so there's a little silence before we go to the next section. Again, listen to other people play and see how they interpreted this. This part's supposed to sound like improvisation, making it up as you go along. And then the next section. Well, meno mosso means slow it down, less motion, and that once it's staccato. Here, nice. You can just finger staccato if you need to. And you're just doing that. That's all. The fingering in this is fine. You're just using third finger here. You can use 2. You can alternate. You don't need to here if you want. But this hand needs to be down here because this right hand is going to come over the top of it going down. So you got to keep this here. And you're going to be playing this note, this key with the right hand also. So you might have to practice that. So real slowly, starting with the 4th line down. I know there's a pickup. That's all right. We'll just start here though. 4th line down. So you see what I'm doing? It is a pattern. The fingering is the same, except here, so you're not going down a 3rd each time. Sometimes it's a 4th. So it's, again, these are all going down in 3rds. Here to here. But not all of them, because the first part of the last line there is a 4th. Not here. It's not here, it's here. So look out. Again, the last line in the 3rd measure, that's a 4th there. So you have to watch out that. You don't have to go that fast. You take it your speed. It's controlled. Which is on page 82, as you'll end. Now, meno mosso, as I said, is less motion, so it's not fast like it was. Where 1, 2. This is slower. 1, 2, and staccato. And it's soft. See the P at the end of the 3rd line there is soft. Remember, the pickup beat at the end of the 3rd line is an 8th note, not a quarter note, so it's quick. And you're staying soft throughout all of this whole thing, this little toccata. A toccata is a touch piece, by the way. And you get a lot of this kind of stuff in a toccata. A toccata, excuse me. I'm thinking of a taco. There's this toccata. There's not a lot to demonstrate there. You just play it. We need to hear the natural accents. You divide it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Not that fast, but that's the point. We want to hear this. Exaggerate the accents, I guess is what I'm trying to say at first, until you have it learned. And then you simply feel the accent, you don't force it. Let's go on to page 81. Now, the first 3 lines of this are the first 4 lines. Let's just take all of this, because this is kind of again, we're back to sounding like we're improvising again. So you started here from the previous line, and that 2 neutral, hang on to that, and then this is 1 E and the same speed you were going before. So it's da da da, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1. rather quickly, and then broadly means stretch it out slowly. By the way, that's an A. Like majestic, da-da, and then go back to what you were doing quick. Slowly. And then you're back to your quick again on 16th note runs. Well, good luck with that. Third line down on page 82, that's 2 beats, and then the first on beat 3, that's tied. The A, just lift up. 3, E, and watch the accidentals. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the end there, they had a couple 30-second notes stuck in. Here, that's all right. It's like he had an extra note to stick in. So he did it that way. They do that sometimes. Now, you take it slow and even and accent on the beat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's too fast, slow it down. Now you have to take it your slow, not mine. But keep that until it's smooth and even. Here. As far as speed goes, well, it has to be smooth and even and controlled. So that becomes, regardless of how fast you were going here, just make, I mean, you were going broadly in the all tempo, well, good luck with that. Just and this at the end. Really what they want to do is they're just trying to stick in an extra note. The run needs an extra note because they want to go to here. They need another note. So they've written it out with 30-second notes. You can blend that in. It doesn't have to be exactly because you're just going fast. Just go. Just make sure that is on beat 3. 1, 2, 3. So I mean you can speed it up any way you need to. Here, see, I played more than just 2 notes quick. I played more than I just want to land there on beat 3. And that's a fermata. And then it's broadly again. And then back to fast. Broadly. Now, the last line here. That's a fermata, and then you lift up. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You're still broadly here. You stayed broadly. You didn't speed up again. So these 16th notes are broadly. Here. It'd be nice to connect this, but you got an overlap. That's okay. If you want to do, I do it just in the full diminished 7th chord again. We've had them before. Just make sure these 16th notes are even. At least these are slow. As far as the pedaling goes, again, it's overlapping pedaling. You're just connecting it. So at the top of the page, you're here. And that's page 82. Isn't that wonderful? Then the next section, page 83, we're back to our fast triplets. Now this is just a allegro moderato. It's a moderately, don't get too carried away, because we're going to kind of go down and then go back up. Now we got to work this fingering out. You can use your own fingering, whatever you want. It's up to you. Now keep in mind, Start with the whole note at the bottom of page 82, you're here. Okay, the E and the C sharp, those two notes are tied to the top of page 83. So you're not going to play them again, you're hanging on to them. So it's here, and they want you to quickly substitute here and here, because you need this note, and they want to connect it. So here, good luck with that, but the idea is you're here, and then you're going to, and again, do this slowly, accent on the beat, carefully. See, now we're going down. See the fingering? Follow the fingering, it's okay. Back up. Here in the left hand there, it's the third line down, last measure here. That's okay. In the right hand, I just stay on 2 and 4. They want you to go to here. It's okay if you want to do that. Opposite here. So you work that out even one hand at a time so you get the finger. So in each hand. Whatever it takes to get them in each hand, you go your speed. Feel that 1 and 2 and 3 and triplet, make them all even. Speed it up as your ability allows. But you're going to go all the way down and all the way back up. It's all connected, it's all legato. So you work that out. They're saying pedal ad lib here for this part. I would recommend you don't pedal this for piano. Just don't. Just leave it. It's the same style as the other trips that you've had before. Just leave it like that. We don't need pedal on this part. You can listen to the recordings of the organ player. If you feel there's some pedal that can be used in there, okay. If you're going to pedal it, be careful. Don't smear it up too much. Don't smear it all together. Ugh. People will typically use a pedal to cover up their mistakes, or when they can't really play a piece correctly, they'll use pedal to cover it up because it kind of blurs it all together. You can't tell what's going on. And I used to do that back before I learned to play the piano, and I've heard many other people do it too. If you know what's going on, you know what the piano player is doing. They're just covering up, using the pedal to cover up their mistakes. Just don't pedal this part at all. Leave it clean. And then at the bottom, this last bit, look out, because on these half notes, the chords, thumb in the right hand is going to play 2 notes there. So you have an A chord, except you got 2 notes here. Here. Get them all down at the same time, and then the next one, and here, 2, 3, and. See, it's molto maestoso is very majestic. I suggest you take this kind of on the slow side. So it's 1, 2, count eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. On beat 3, the right hand comes out. 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and. Now the last 2 measures at the bottom. Let's get this fingering. In the right hand, it's a 2 here. Because the E is tied, you're going to hold it down when you do the other notes. So it's here, the A is tied, so you're going to change it here, here, and now you're going to change the C sharp and the E are tied, you're going to go here, So isn't that a fun? You're just, again, that measure is here. Here, and then here. And I recommend you just stay there. Use a thumb. And 8VA underneath means go down and over here. And then you can cross over in second finger, because you're going to hold these down. Like so. I know the pedal is there, I don't care. You need to feel these notes with the fingers. We got multiple voices going on, and they're doing different things at different times, and it's really neat. Overlapping pedal. Now lift up, hold the pedal. At the end, the pedal and the hands come up together. So take this, as I said, as a section at a time, and then go back and put the sections together. Now, in the page turn, if you're playing this for people and you got to turn the page, what do? Well, really, you memorize it. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to have to leave out notes. Or you add a fermata where it doesn't belong. Because at the end of page 81, you have the eighth notes going down. At top of page 82, then you're here. You got to come up here. You got to turn your hands around. You're untwisting your hands. Well, good luck at that. Now, what you can do here is on that first measure, use your left hand to turn the page and play all of those notes in the left hand. Like so. And as you're doing that, you can turn the page. And then back here. So forth. So you might be able to do that. We do that sometimes. One hand can play the notes that are in the other staff and help the other hand out. I do that a lot. And on page turns, that really comes in handy.